Welcome to Detroit. Doesn't matter if you have one ass cheek and three toes. I will beat your ass. You can drown them. And that's what we gotta be. That's who we have to be. Because that's our domain. That is our domain. Because we'll tread water as long as it takes to fucking bury you.
Takes the snap, turns, gives to Montgomery, right side, end zone, touchdown, Detroit Lions! Yes.
We are driven by Detroit.
Hello, Detroit Lions friends, fans, and family members. Welcome on back to yet another episode of MCM Motor City Mania. I'm your host, David T. Pike. And as always, we're diving on in. Gotta tell you something, folks. Gonna kind of look at this kind of in the sense of like an animal kingdom, if you will. Obviously, the lions are what would be known as the king of the jungle, right? Well, what's the one thing we know about animals is that when they're in their natural element, that's when they're their most dangerous. And if you think about it, for the Detroit Lions right now, they are in their natural element. But not only are they in their natural element in the sense of, okay, they're playing at home for the next 2 weeks after just playing the game that they just played against the Giants at home on Sunday, but they're also in another natural element. And this is an area where the Lions have a major advantage that they must exploit over all the teams that they're going to be playing in this element over the next couple of weeks. Because if you realistically want to think about it, over the next 6 games that the Lions play to finish out the remainder of this year, 5 of these games are going to be in said natural element. And when you are a team right now that is making a push for the playoffs, you're making a push for the division title, you have to take advantage of every single thing you can get your both proverbial and literal hands on. Every single game. And right now, the Lions we know are 7-4. They're still in the thick of the playoff race. They're still in the hunt for their 3rd division title crown. And they're also chasing a Super Bowl. I know some people don't think that they have a shot at a Super Bowl. It's like, I'm going to say this right now. It's a never say never kind of, thing with this kind of team. It's a never say die. And so, with those 6 games remaining, the Lions are going to be wanting to take advantage of every single thing that they have available and exploit it to the max. And fortunately for them, they have one thing that they can take advantage of that they can do with for virtually every single game that they play for the remainder of the season, save the last one. And it's pretty easy to figure out if you actually take a look at the Lions' schedule. Because if you think about it, obviously most people are going to be concerned about the fact that the Lions are getting set to play the Packers here on Thursday. They're concerned about the fact that we're going to be playing the Cowboys after that. And then on top of that, we're going to be playing the Rams. So it's like, okay, we got some really good teams coming up. So that's what they're most concerned about. But you honestly have to take a look at the schedule in a number of other ways. And the way that I'm going to talk about it in this episode is that while the Lions do have some difficult opponents that are coming up, the Lions have an advantage in the fact that they're going to be playing most of these teams that they're going to be playing inside. They're going to be playing them indoors. They're going to be playing them under a dome. Now, some are going to say that's not much of an advantage, but I would resoundingly disagree for several reasons. Number one here, let's understand something about the Detroit Lions. The Detroit Lions play in a dome. That's their home element. Well, when you think about it from that perspective, how have the Lions done at home this year? Well, the Lions are 4-1 at home this year. Of the 4 losses that they have, only 1 is at home. And that loss so far at home was when we played against the Minnesota Vikings and we lost 27-24. Now, when you take a look at the 5 games that the Lions have played at home, and coincidentally, all 5 of those games have been in a dome, the Lions have scored, if I recall correctly from doing the math, is 168 points in those 5 games. That averages out to 34 points a game. 34 points is typically more than enough to win. So, okay, in the 5 games that they've played indoors this year, all 5 which have been at home, they've scored on average 34 points a game, and they've won 4 out of those 5 contests. Just doing some quick math there, 4 out of 5, that's 80%. That's pretty damn good. But then, you have to expand upon that a little bit. Since 2023, the Detroit Lions have had a home record in the regular season of 17-5, which again is just underneath that 800 win percentage. It's .773 if I recall correctly. Now, obviously that's important because the Lions play their next 2 games at home, which is obviously when we play the Thanksgiving game when we're playing against the Packers, and then the game after that when we're playing against the Dallas Cowboys. And both of those games, they're not going to be easy to win, but they are winnable games. You can win those games. And I'm going to tell you this right now. I know for the Lions team right now, they are definitely wanting to get some payback after what happened in Week 1 earlier this season. Desperately wanting to get some payback. So the Lions can win those games, at which if they do win those games, they would then go to 9-4. And the Lions would then be set up for those final 4 games, of which 3 of those 4 games are going to be in domes. If I recall correctly, the Rams game obviously is going to be in LA, and then we play the Minnesota Vikings at their place, and then we have our final home game against the Pittsburgh Steelers, which is also probably going to be the final game we play against Aaron Rodgers. So the Lions definitely have a chance to control their destiny here because they're going to be in their natural home element. They're going to be playing indoors. And when the Lions play indoors, that's when they play really, really damn well. That's not to say they don't play well. They don't play well when they're outdoors. We've seen them play well outdoors several times. But when they're indoors, it really, really makes a damn difference. And I can tell you that it makes a damn difference because of the 3 offensive starters that we have and showing you what they're able to do when they are indoors, when they are in their home element. Let me just show you what I mean here. Let's take a look at Jared Goff's stats at home since 2023. If you take a look at his stats, he's completed almost 71% of his passes when playing at home. He's got over 6,000 passing yards, actually almost 6,100, 8.1 an average a throw, 52 passing touchdowns for almost 7 touchdown percentage, 6.9 to be exact, 15 interceptions for 2 interception percentage rate per throw, with a 101.8 passer rating. That's damn great numbers right there. Absolutely spectacular. So the quarterback already has a great reputation and already has provided great production when playing at home over the last 3 years. Well, soon to be 3 years, but 2.5 years. We'll just go with that. Well, who are the other 2? Well, it ain't too hard to figure out who those are. That's Amon-Ra St. Brown and that's Jahmyr Gibbs. What do their stats look like when they're playing at home? Let's take a look at Amon-Ra St. Brown's stats really quickly. For Amon-Ra St. Brown, since 2023, his home stats are 155 receptions to 204 targets with a 76% catch rate. Almost 2,000 receiving yards, 12.8 an average a catch with 15 receiving touchdowns, with 10 of those games being 100-plus yard receiving games. Now, why do I say that? Well, because we've had 21 home games so far up until this point if you include the 2023 season, and that's not including playoffs. So think about that. In 10 out of those 21 games, Amon-Ra St. Brown has had 100 receiving yards or more. That's 47.6% of the time, folks. And he's had 15 touchdowns of those 21 games, which obviously that doesn't mean he has a touchdown every single game, but again, he's getting just as many touchdowns as he's played in games over the last literal 2.5 years. That's a pretty big, element to make sure you kind of consider when you're talking about this. Now, don't you think? So that's Amon-Ra St. Brown. Now we move into Jahmyr Gibbs. And Jahmyr Gibbs has already proven that this is a guy that absolutely makes a difference no matter if he's playing at home, away, indoors, outdoors. But when he's at home, oh good God almighty, is it ever impressive. Take a look at his numbers, his total numbers, playing at home since 2023. He has 276 rushes for almost 1,750 yards. 6.3 an average a rush, 19 rushing touchdowns with 78 receptions out of 93 targets, which is an 83.9 reception percentage rate, 587 yards for 7.5 an average a catch with 5 receiving touchdowns. Again, 21 home games, folks, not including playoffs. And yet, Jahmyr Gibbs almost has as many rushing touchdowns in those 21 games. I mean, he's got 19, he's played 21 home games. And then on top of that, when you include those 5 receiving touchdowns, he's got 24. He has 24 total touchdowns in 21 home games. And that's also including the 15 touchdowns that Amon-Ra St. Brown himself has. And then when you go back to Goff, Goff has over 50 passing touchdowns when playing at home since 2023. The sheer proclivity that these guys play at when they're at home is at a completely different level. It's unheard of how absolutely dominant they are when they're at home. Now, that's just talking about the home games that we have for the next, couple of weeks. Because we obviously have 3 home games left. We have the Packers, we have the Cowboys, we have the Steelers. But obviously, we also have to deal with the other teams that we're playing, which are not going to be at home. Which obviously include the Rams and the Vikings. Now, how does Goff, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and Jahmyr Gibbs look when they're playing on the road in domes since 2023? Again, it's actually pretty damn impressive. And I actually missed this. It was not 101.8. It was 109.8 for Jared Goff's, passer rating. I had that mixed up because I wrote my 9 kind of small on the loop. So sorry about that. I just recognized that when I looked at my notes there. But I'm going to make sure that it's accurate when I actually do the editing. But when you take a look at Jared Goff's statistics, when he's playing on the road in a dome since 2023, it's still pretty damn prolific. 69 completion percentage rate, almost 2,500 passing yards, 8.8 in average a throw, 15 passing touchdowns to 8 interceptions with 102.3 passer rating. So again, when Jared Goff is indoors, when Jared Goff is playing inside a dome, does not matter if it's away, doesn't matter if it's at home, the guy plays at an absolutely stupendous level. And we have to honestly think about this from the secondary perspective. Even though we're going to be going to LA to play the Rams there, Goff played in LA as his home stadium for years. So really, that's his secondary home there. So really, the only game where he's going to be away, so to speak, is going to be in the Minnesota Vikings game. So for Goff, it's like the next 4 or 5 weeks, except for that freaking Vikings game, he's going to be playing inside of his home stadium, more or less. Now, that's Goff on the road in domes since 2023. What about Amon-Ra St. Brown? Again, Amon-Ra St. Brown playing inside of domes away is also pretty damn good. He's got 59 receptions out of 72 targets, 81.9 reception percentage rate, 747 yards, 12.7 an average a catch with 8 receiving touchdowns. And again, if I recall correctly, I think between 2023 to now, because so far the Lions have not played any away games inside at all this year. Every single away game they've played has been outdoors. So the Lions have not had any games like that so far this year. So all these games are from 2023 and 2024, of which I think there's if I recall correctly, I think 8 or 9 of them. So again, you're talking about how for Jared Goff, he's getting 2 touchdowns a game. Amon-Ra St. Brown getting pretty much 1 receiving touchdown a game. That is important here. And then when you take a look at Jahmyr Gibbs, again, the same pattern emerges. For Jahmyr Gibbs, in away games in domes since 2023, 135 rushes for 683 yards, 5.1 an average a rush, 8 rushing touchdowns, 21 receptions for 32 targets, 66 reception percentage rate, 5.8 an average a catch with 1 receiving touchdown. Again, 9 total touchdowns over 9 total games, almost 700 yards. I mean, dude, you're talking about guys that when they're indoors, when they're playing inside of their natural element, which is to play indoors, they just play at a completely different level than other teams. It's what they do. It is how they play. It is what they're best at. Doesn't matter if it's Goff, doesn't matter if it's Amon-Ra St. Brown, doesn't matter if it's Jahmyr Gibbs. All three of those guys, they play at an immensely high level when they are playing indoors. And it doesn't matter if it's at home, it doesn't matter if it's on the road. And for the Lions, when you've got the next 6 games and 5 of them are going to be indoors, that right there plays a massive advantage that you absolutely have to take advantage of. You're going to be inside. You're going to be in your natural element. You're going to be playing against teams that not only you can beat, but if you want to realistically have a good shot of making whatever plans you have in the playoffs come alive, you have to beat. That's just the name of the game. So the way I look at it is this is a massive opportunity for the Lions that they absolutely have to take advantage of, and I believe that they can do it. Now, whether or not they will, that remains to be seen. Again, like I said in a previous episode, I am never at this point going to say for the rest of the season that the Lions can not win a game. They can win any game. The question is whether or not they will. And I'm never just going to say, oh yeah, you know what, the Lions are going to win this game just because they're that much better or they're that much more talented. They can win any game. The question is, will they win any game? And I believe they can win every single game remaining on their schedule. They just have to find a way to continue to get better. And they need to do it in a damn quick hurry. Because again, you can probably do that with the Packers a little bit. You can probably do that with the Cowboys. But once you hit the Rams, it's like, listen, you better have yourself, tightened up, buttoned up perfectly. Otherwise, it's going to be a long remainder of the season. But obviously, I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself there. But my whole point with this episode is that the Lions have a massive opportunity in front of them where they can take advantage of a great opportunity and turn it in their favor. They just have to execute. That's the whole point of this episode. So, you do with that information what you will. But having said that, I'm going to end this episode and say thank you all for watching yet another episode of MCM Motor City Mania. If you like the content, I hope to gain your subscription if I had not yet done so already. And I also hope that you will like and comment, respectfully of course. Also, if you subscribed in the past and you forgot to do so at the time, or you just subscribed and you not yet had a chance to do so, please make sure you hit that bell notification icon so that you guys never miss any more content that I push out. I hope y'all are doing well and hope y'all got something in your life that makes you happy, makes you smile. God bless, my friends. And until the next time we meet, I'll see you all in the next episode.